Hey, this is the Prophet with Nick Black. It's time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain. We here to fix that. You want the news on them new stocks? This where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair. It's time to sit back and talk to Prophet. Hey, hey, you talking to the Prophet? Hey, hey. We talking condos and nice clothes and driving Lambos. I remember them night codes, we couldn't stand those. We tried to drive on them house roads, but had to stay low. Now there's solutions to hard bills we couldn't pay for. I talked to Prophet to get some profit, we couldn't change the top. If it's a stock and I need a cop it, I wait for him to drop it. Ain't no option, let's get it poppin'. We chillin' in the trap. I need some crypto, put it in my pocket. By any means I rock. This is the Prophet with Nick Black. It's time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain, we here to fix that. You want the news on them new stocks, this where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair. It's time to sit back and talk to Prophet. Hey, hey, you talking to the Prophet.
It's so yummy.
Hey, hey, you talking to the Prophet.
Is there any such thing as coffee porn? We should do that. We should have a coffee porn thing where it's just coffee. And everybody's like, where's the porn? Like, it's just the coffee. Like, dang it. I was expecting some good porn. No, just the coffee. All right. So all sorts of fun stuff. Yes, Bitcoin's around 63,000. That's pretty awesome. So it means that anytime in the past, if you ever told someone to buy Bitcoin, you were right. If you ever told them to buy Cardano, you were right. Ethereum, you were right. Go all the way down the list. Even coins that shouldn't be going up are going up. You know what? I'm not a hater. I love it. To all of you XRP people out there, good on you. Sometimes throwing darts works. All right. Let's say hello to everybody. We got a lot of cool new friends over on Theta, and hopefully it looks like Theta is actually broadcasting. So cool. Scorpzion, Baykeeper, V-Reload, Claire Smith, What HK, What Up, Sniper Princess, Stress Relief, Spirella, Gordon, of course. What's going on? Down to my last shot of coffee. Whoa. Get out there, man. Don't let that expire. Never let the coffee expire. Let's see. Joe Pirate, J80, Hulagram, Fishing Magician, Antonio, Solid Gold, Siri Matayenko. Let's see. Hulagram. Did I miss anyone? No. I'll come back. If I miss, let me say hello over here, over her. Jimmy James. First in the captain seat, Joe Fernandez. ¿Qué estás haciendo? Jimmy James. Let's see. P. Kelly, Scott. I think I saw Scott Hill as well. Yes, Scott Hill, JJ, Scorpzion, Brady, of course. Sunil, Jerry. What up, my man, Jer? Ella Paul, Darting Uphill. Michael Murphy, Cross the Pond. Nico, Bernard. Tube that pipeline. That's every time. It's funny. It's funny because it's funny. All right. Pablo, Leon. What's up, Leon? You must be loving this. Brandon, what's going on? Patsy. And, oh, that's weird. It updated weird. Tiffany, Chris, Mark, Aldo. What up, Aldo? Jeffrey, Hits NDC. Dubai, Money in the House. Adam, of course, you're probably loving it. Probably loving it a lot. Cardano is looking delicious. Let's see. Oh, Ashley. Did I get everyone? McNabb, Philippe, Nash. What up? Okay. I'm going to the clubhouse. I can't shut the. Oh, yes. Clubhouse. Hey, it's on. Antonio's running the shop over there at Clubhouse. So things are good. Okay. Jared, of course. Well, now that Jared's here, which, by the way, if anybody doesn't know, Jared was patient zero. He was the first one. He was numero uno, the very first one in the Crypto and Coffee fam. On our very first show, it was like me. It was me, Jared. And the only reason I say me first is just because I turn the computer on. So it was myself, Jared. It was Lance. Just a few people. Just so few of us. It was like 6 of us for like a month. It was like 6 of us. And then Emil. And it's funny too. This is how you know that Emil Kalinowski and Jeff Snyder, the Emil, Jeff, or the Kalinowski Snyder team are real humans. Those dudes joined us when we had 30 subscribers. and they came on the show. This is a dude, a duo that's on CNBC and Bloomberg. I mean, has consulted congressmen and senators and all this kind of stuff. And these dudes wanted to get the message out. That's why I like those guys so much. And Emil and Jeff are just cool dudes. So anyway, kudos to them. They'll be coming back, by the way. So I was on the phone, on the Zoom, negotiating our contracto for programming for a new network, which is cool. I shan't say what they are yet because we don't have a signed deal, but that'll be cool. So that'll be a show that probably is real early for Californians. This show, we're going to try to keep at the same time. So yeah. Okay. Can you trade coins other than Bitcoin on Ledger X? Good question. The answer is right now, no, but Ethereum is coming soon, literally any day. There was another question here, and then I'm going to get to the opening graphics and we'll do our thing. What's your thoughts on Top Shot packs in regard to selling in the marketplace, open the packs and sell each moment? So, okay. I would, it depends. I got the pack yesterday. I finally got a pack. And for those of you that watched the video, I put a video out that, Alex and I did a video late in the day on the $999 pack. We pulled about between say $15,000 and $20,000 worth of cards or moments. So yeah, pretty cool. But it's the whole lottery system. Like you got to be in the lottery. I'm hoping they have a $10,000 pack because maybe I'll get that one. Because the regular ones, I never get them. But this was the good one. So got some pretty cool stuff. Anyway, it's still a pastime, you know. So I think Scorpion, I think the way to play it is you open them, sell them, trade your way to lower numbers, and then list those for ridiculously high prices and wait for the money to come in. I have another play for you guys that I think you should make. We'll talk about it more next week, but Topps is doing a release season, basically the first time they're doing a Major League Baseball release. So their Series 1 is releasing on wax. If I were you, I would get some exposure to that because there's only one first, right? And so I think with the NBA Top Shots, we're late to the game, all of us. But not with the baseball cards and not with Topps. And Topps is the big swinging in the business. Okay, so cool. We'll talk about more kind of stuff like that. Yeah, but I haven't heard anything on Anatha. Okay, let's do this. Galatia, good to see you. Let's do this. Let's go to the opening graphic-y thingies. That way this show has the semblance of being a real show, even though we all know it's not because I curse a lot. I did all my push-ups last night before I went to bed. I did my push-ups, took my shower, went to bed. So don't think I shirked my dirty, foul-mouth push-up responsibility. Cursing equals push-ups. I'm going to be jacked. Bimps, what's up? All right, we'll be right back. Yay. Okay. So we got some interesting news. I know prices are going nuts. Get past that. Doesn't mean anything. Is anybody selling today? No. So these prices don't mean anything. They might focus you on maybe what you're kind of looking at buying or whatever, but don't get caught up in the prices. It's cool on days where they're up, but then you guys will be depressed on days where they're down, even though it doesn't mean anything. Because you're not selling anything. And even if you are, you're not selling anything. Even when you're selling anything, you're going to borrow your way out of crypto. Why? Ain't no tax on debt, suckers. So, yeah. Real show. Yeah, real show is good. God. All right. So let's go talk a little bit about what be in the news. A lot of people are kind of talking about Biden's tax hikes. What does it mean for the Bitcoin, is it going to panic? Okay, I'm going to read. This article is not written by It's not written by someone that I would consider a macro guy, but I'm going to read to you what the arguments are right now floating around, and then we will talk about them. We'll go from there. Okay. What would Biden's tax hikes mean for Bitcoin? Tax hikes could encourage profit taking in cryptocurrencies. Okay, let me just get through the sentence because I already want to tear this down. Tax hikes could encourage profit taking in cryptocurrencies, but some investors remain bullish as ongoing stimulus could trigger inflation. Both parts of that are wrong. Now, I do agree that some investors believe that. They are wrong. Well, let me just say this. It's flawed thinking based on history. And based on the mechanism for dispersing stimulus funds right now, this second. So we'll go into it as we go into it. U.S. President Joe Biden's proposal to raise taxes to help pay for increased infrastructure spending and other economic stimulus programs could stunt this year's rally in Bitcoin. Well, here's why. Let's just keep it simple. They raise taxes in a variety of areas, which they're going to do anyway, right? You can't just keep printing up money and not find a way to tax. Although that doesn't matter because the tax money doesn't actually come back and repay anything because we're way off that. But let's say that that's the way it worked, that you raised spending and you raised taxes in accordance with that, and you took the tax money and you burned it, and that made up for the new money creation, right? You would basically break even. Well, you can't in an expanding economy, but we're not an expanding economy. We're a fast decelerating economy. So, okay. Let's keep moving with the line of reasoning. So, the idea is that people would see all this new infrastructure spending and stimulus that was a result of the taxes. So you tax, you create more stimulus, you push the stimulus out. Stimulus doesn't go out. Stimulus doesn't actually get to the people. Every $10 of stimulus, only $1 actually goes into your back pocket. The other $9 gets funneled right back into a handful of companies that have a sweetheart deal with regulators, government officials, and through lobby, through other more dubious means. Anyway, so when they're like, yeah, we're going to create stimulus, it's going to make inflation. No, it creates investment inflation. Those $9 that don't see your back pocket of every $10 of stimulus, they're like, inflation's coming. No, it's not, dumbasses. You have asset inflation, and certain markets do inflate because why? Because that other $9 goes back into the hands of banks and financial institutions, private equity, whether it's through the extension of credit to some of these facilities at really low rates, whatever. That money comes back and they go invest. Instead of loaning you money for your house, instead of spinning up new loans and creating credit and free-flowing cash into the economy, they just invest themselves. And these rich, it is what it is. These rich guys, some of them gals, but most of them guys, fat, rich, douchey, white guys, that get all of this stimulus money that they do not really deserve and they shouldn't have, because that money should be in the hands of the people if it's really intended to be stimulus. They take the money and instead of raising wages, lowering prices of products, and expanding their business, they invest. So the banks invest instead of loaning. The companies invest instead of hiring. And what do you get? You get asset bubbles. And what are those asset bubbles mostly formed by? Credit availability to a very few amount of people, free cash to a very few amount of people, no real repayment terms to those same few people, and they buy all of the stuff. Now the inflation argument is bullcrap because they're not going and buying eggs and cereal. There will be log jams and logistics and things like that will marginally increase the price of goods and services. But net it out, you see bubbles in housing. Why? Because banks just start buying houses and investing. PE, money movers, they just start investing instead of extending that into society. So stimulus is not stimulus except for a very small few. That's why the wealth gap gets bigger and bigger. That's why you can have a COVID and at the same time have the greatest equity markets in history. If you think that's dislocated, you're right. That's right. Cantillon effect. If you think that's a dislocation, you're absolutely right. It is. It's scammy, and that's the way we do business. That will not change until a digital dollar. Because if the Fed, and again, it might not be through the Fed, it would probably have to be through the Treasury. The Fed actually is not supposed to be allowed to do this. But depending on how they structure it, a Fed dollar or a Treasury dollar, a digital dollar that went directly into your back pocket in real time could stimulate the kind of inflation that they want, even though that's reverse thinking. And that gets into the whole inflation argument if it comes up. I don't want to go into that whole thing, but inflation for the sake of inflation is a fail. You want inflation as a result of a broadening economy, of higher wages, of essentially an assumption that the prices of labor and products are going to go up. So companies hire more and sooner, make their wages more competitive to keep employees, and they expand sooner than later because they believe, hey, the inflation of a growing, vibrant, expanding economy is coming as a result of that expansion. If you go the other way and just say, I want inflation because that equals economy, nope. That equals devaluation of currency. Yeah, it's weird. Okay, so as long as you can unwrap those things and the interest rate fallacy and go on and on. Okay, Joe Biden's proposal to raise taxes to help pay for increased infrastructure spending and other economic stimulus programs could stunt this year's rally in Bitcoin. Disagree. Analysts say it could have some little news headline effects, but yeah. Analysts say the largest cryptocurrencies benefited from the government's record budget deficits. Has it? Do you think so many people in the world are in Bitcoin, and in the United States, everybody's in? Like everybody that bought Bitcoin, you say, why'd you buy Bitcoin? Well, because of the government's record budget deficits, obviously. Get the F out of here. Ever since the coronavirus hit the economy in full force in March 2020, the Federal Reserve helping to finance extra government borrowing by purchasing U.S. Treasury bonds. Yeah, dummies. Let me tell you the flaw here. So this moron doesn't understand. Those bank reserves are funny money. It's not real money. Those are coupons. They actually used to be coupons. Federal Reserve notes were coupons that they traded just interbank. You can't take Federal Reserve coupons, right? Bank reserves, as they're referred to in some circles, that the Fed uses to push liquidity to the prime brokers, the broker dealers, so that they will go and, as a warehousing function, take on government debt and then flip it to the public or flip it in repo or flip it one way or another. So they're basically using these bank reserves to, in a quasi way, keep these banks feeling flush and part of the system. And they say, listen, we'll keep making you flush. You keep pushing government debt to the public. But the problem is that the banks know that those bank reserves aren't real money also. So when banks get put flush with bank reserves, they just go, so what? It's fake. It's not real money. It's not real. So why would I go and behave as if I had a bunch of cash if I don't have a bunch of cash, if I have a bunch of monopoly money? It's not real. Just remember that. You can't buy burgers with bank reserves. Okay. Some investors see Bitcoin as a useful hedge against inflation. I think that's flawed thinking. I would say it's a hedge if currency devaluation occurs. It wouldn't be a hedge against inflation. It would track inflation. So it's not one or the other. You want the inflation that is a result of an expanding economy with free-flowing credit and cash. So we want that. We kind of need it. All right. Viewing ultra-loose monetary policy, not true. And long-term currency debasement may be true as tailwinds for the cryptocurrency. Others see Bitcoin as a risky asset whose prices have rallied because of the easy financial conditions. To an extent, to a small cohort of people, the YOLOs in society that took a little bit of extra money that maybe they would not have had the government been giving them an extra $600 a week or $300 a week or an employment, and they're just like, I'm just going to chill. I make more money than I did working at a restaurant. Okay, cool. So to a small cohort of society, that is probably structurally true. Just look at the Robinhood nonsense. Look at all these people that jumped into the markets that don't know what the F they're doing. Look at a big percentage of the crypto space. Most of the investors in the crypto space are absolute half-tards, right? They're smart enough to get into the space. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're clueless. They're buying the dumbest stuff. Listen, if there's certain assets that if I see them in your portfolio, I know that you're a half-tard. You're cryptarded. Good on you. I'm glad. I hope you make some money, but I know that you'll give it all back, right? Some people get mad like, man, I can't believe this coin's doing this. What do you care? If Tron is the junkiest asset on the planet, if it goes up to $1, so what? Good for them. Good for everyone that YOLO'd into it. Go spend money on whatever you spend money on. You'll blow it. You'll be poor. The money will end up back in our pockets anyway. We always win in the end. If you're willing to do the research and understand fundamentally kind of the market mechanisms, you're going to win anyway. Let these other guys have their day. This is why I'm not a Ripple hater. I know a lot of people that have a lot of XRP because emotionally they couldn't let go. Now, that was a flawed decision. It's flawed. And if you behave like that, you will lose money. Eventually, you'll lose all of it. But it paid off. Or did it? Or did it? Because while every other asset on the aggregate did a 700% run, you're up 120%. Everybody's like, yeah, look at Tron. It's up 3x. Yeah, in 3 years, it's up 3x. That is a fucking embarrassment. It's a junk asset. Right now, there are many junk assets. You know where I'm going, but I'm not going to say them. There are many junk assets that people own because they are emotional. This is the wrong space for you. This is incredibly turbulent space. It's way too volatile for you to be emotional. So much so that you get mad that some junk asset's skyrocketing. There's all sorts of dumb things that skyrocket for dumb reasons. There are whole giant chat groups that all they do is pump cheap bullcrap projects to get a quick pop and then exit. Hey, who cares? Good. Make your $18. F off. We're buying islands here. Okay. Others see Bitcoin as a risky asset whose prices have rallied because of easy financial conditions, similar to the way stocks have pushed towards fresh records despite the economic turbulence. I agree with that. Whatever the case, any tax hikes, which still face steep resistance from corporate lobbyists as well as lawmakers from the opposition Republican Party, might represent the first effort to impose fiscal discipline in the U.S. since coronavirus. Right, because Republicans are known for fiscal discipline. This is all just posturing and like appealing to your caucus. They always raise the debt ceiling. They don't have a choice. They always spend. They don't have a choice. They always do it. It's always a poor use of funds because they don't know what they're doing, because central planners and politicians are not statistically good business people. That's not a shot across the bow. It's a factual statement. They're just bad at everything. That's why they're career politicians. Hey, better them than me. I don't want to be a politician. Okay. The U.S. actions are not bullish for Bitcoin. Okay, let's see. Who's this? Edward Moya, an analyst. By all means, analyst. He's an analyst. It's spelled that way. I'm not being a dick. All right. The U.S. actions are not bullish for Bitcoin as tax increases could be a thorn in the recovery and will drag down investments. Edward, I want you to get close to the screen. Edward Moya, analyst at Oanda. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you fucking idiot. And let me explain to you why. Okay. U.S. actions are not bullish for Bitcoin. U.S. actions, other than some headline that people might react to, have nothing to do with Bitcoin, right? Other than a little bit of headline action, a little black swan, a day or two here or there. We are in a phase where the whole world is coming to terms with the idea that maybe an ancillary currency that's not managed by the fucking Edward Moyas of the world and his ilk, or she, or they, because I don't know his pronoun, their pronoun. It's getting tricky with pronouns, right? The world is coming to terms that an ancillary, marginally uncorrelated currency might be nice when everything else is a racket. Everything else is a scam or a way for rich dudes to steal. Ed, you fucking dummy. People aren't waiting with Bitcoin, waiting to see what the Fed's, I'm going to buy it, but only if the Fed, no one gives a fuck what Powell has to say. No one, not even the bond market, not even the other Fed governors, because they come, the minute Powell makes a statement, all the other Fed governors shuffle out there and do interviews where they're like, well, I didn't really agree with that. No one cares, dude. No one on the aggregate cares. People aren't converting everything they have into Bitcoin, Ed. What they're doing is they're taking on exposure because they believe that the risk reward is so asymmetric that they would rather hide in Bitcoin than gold, right? So they might convert 2.5%, 5%. The MicroStrategy stories, while they're interesting, that's not the aggregate, that's not the average, and that is not the norm. That is actually someone who is behaving irrationally. That kind of investment in Bitcoin for a company, that's not rational. And the only time I've ever agreed with HSBC, because they're one of the scammier banks on the planet, I mean, real scammy, super scammy. These are the dudes that changed the size of the windows at the banks to fit suitcases so that drug dealers could more easily make deposits. They actually retrofitted all of them, like all of them. That's HSBC. That's the HSBC we're talking about. They said, we don't trust MicroStrategy. We're not going to invest in them, because they took 80% of their treasury into Bitcoin. Now, while that's probably a good move, you can't do that as a competent fiduciary. You can't make an 80% bet that could potentially murder your company on a digital asset with 12 years of history. You can't do that. Now, it will still probably turn out to be a great bet. Michael Saylor's made $5.5 billion on a 2.7 billion investment. He's made 5.5 billion, something like that. Pretty cool. Incredibly risky. Not sound judgment. I like Michael Saylor. He is an awesome dude, but he is a poor fiduciary. That's unreasonable, dude. I get it. We all agree Bitcoin is the man. I'm bullish on Bitcoin. That's all I do. I mean, at some point, maybe MicroStrategy should focus on MicroStrategy. Otherwise, fold up your fucking shop and buy 100% Bitcoin. Because if 80% of your treasury is Bitcoin, then what is MicroStrategy? What is the MicroStrategy to just keep buying small amounts of Bitcoin? Is that MicroStrategy? Well, then roll your shingle out and just launch an ETF like every other dumbass, like Novogratz, like Goldman Sachs, like Van Eck. Just go down the list of ETF people, because everybody's doing it now. Me and Jerry are launching an ETF. Who wants in? Jerry and Nick, ETF. 100 to 1 leverage. So, Ed, the rest of the world, the common sense world, they're not waiting to buy or sell Bitcoin because of a tax increase or not that may or may not ever take shape. Ed, you fucking dummy. Anyway, included in Biden's proposal is an increase in both the corporate tax rate and individual rate for high earners. So again, we said it. You get it. Okay. Those are not corollaries. Okay. Higher taxes could stall the economic recovery. I like how he puts this. If they raise taxes for the 1%, who here is going to really be affected? It's none of us. Because when we're talking about people that are 100 million or better, even if you're doing well, even if you're question mark rich, this isn't really going to beat you up. This is a confiscatory scheme, and they've tried it all over Europe, and it's failed every time. Why? Because you can tax the highest earners into infinity. They just exit their money. They're smarter than your tax plan, you fucking dullards. These central planners are so stupid. And this is why when you unpack it, they're not actually stupid. They know that the higher earners will just exit their capital. They realize that they're not going to end up, you can set the tax rate at whatever you get. They've done tons and tons of studies. There's a lot of math behind this. It doesn't matter what they set the tax rate. The tax collected is the same. Why? Because people go, okay, fine. I'm taking all my shit offshore. Like, well, we'll go after that. No, you won't, because we'll put it into all sorts of assets that are protected, like real estate and this and that. We'll invest in governments. We'll invest in these smaller countries that will let us protect our assets and don't really give a crap about the long arm of justice of the U.S. government and the Treasury Department. You can set the tax rate to a gazillion %. It makes no difference. You're still going to get about the same amount of taxes. This has been proven for decades. It didn't work in Europe. It never works anywhere they do it. So what it is when you boil it down, politicians, while they may not be geniuses in business, they do understand some rudimentary math. They get it. This isn't really a big deal. We talk, it's bluster. We appeal to our caucus. Maybe we hold some votes. Maybe the state doesn't flip. Maybe I keep my district. It's much ado about nothing. Higher taxes could stall the economic recovery at a time when the Federal Reserve is increasingly vocal about the need for ongoing monetary and fiscal support. Yeah, because what else does the Federal Reserve actually do? Nothing. They do nothing. They don't understand monetary. See, understand the difference between monetary and fiscal policy. Real quick, everyone. Monetary policy is what the Fed tries to do. It's not monetary, and it's barely policy. That's QE, which is neither quantitative nor easing, right? It's actually the opposite. That's the interest rate fallacy. But that's monetary policy. That's what the Federal Reserve and actual central banks do, okay? Then there's fiscal policy, which is taxation and spending. That's what the government and government hacks and politicians vote on and do, okay? So fiscal, government, monetary, Federal Reserve, central banks. Okay. And remember, the federal bank's not a central, the Fed is not a central, it's not a central bank. Well, there's nothing central about it. It's 12 banks that preside over 24 broker dealers that try to maintain price stability, buying power for the American household, and liquidity in the banking system as a result of all of the chaos that occurred in the late 1800s. Cool. All right. Raising taxes could offset the widening federal budget deficit, which is estimated to be about 10% of GDP in 2021, the second largest since 1945, right? Wartime. Exceeded only by the 15% shortfall recorded last year. Okay. We have another quote from another idiot. Let's see. An improving fiscal and debt sustainability outlook could lead to a stronger dollar and put pressure on crypto assets. Well, which is it? Are we worried about inflation and people hiding in the debt market? Or are we worried about a stronger dollar? You can't, I don't understand. So both ways it's pressure on Bitcoin, and both ways it's good for Bitcoin, and both ways you don't know what you're talking about. These people make these blanket statements. There's too many moving parts. I guess this is the point mostly of today. There's a lot of moving parts. These are very, very fluid, mostly organic markets with very inorganic pieces at work, obviously, the gears that are managed by the government and central planners. But there's too many data inputs. There's too many bits of stimulus, not like fiscal stimulus, like stimuli. There's too many things happening, too many particle interactions for any one or two things to be the result of or to create some kind of effect that you can go, if this happens, this. If this happens, this. Uncorrelated, dude. And only at times are they correlated. An improving fiscal and debt sustainability outlook could lead to a stronger dollar and put pressure on crypto assets like Bitcoin, which some investors view as a hedge against inflation. Well, then it would only be for those investors. And those investors are flawed, as are you, Garrick. And currency debasement. Now, that's an argument you could probably make, that we're debasing currency. But it's cool because that currency debasement's not happening for you and I. I mean, our savings are getting debased, but don't worry because all that money's not really getting to us. Remember, we only get $1.10. It's going back into these giant asset bubbles, which further separate the rich from the poor and decimate the middle class. Peachy, I know. There's plenty of room for disagreement. Is there? Ariel Zetlin Jones, an economist professor at Carnegie Mellon University who has studied cryptocurrency markets, told CoinDesk that the relationship between economic output and effective corporate taxes is quite weak. Well said. Suggesting that other factors might be the key determinant of growth. Also well said. It's possible that the additional tax revenue might simply embolden lawmakers' spending plans. Right. This is an important thing. When is the last time you saw lawmakers and politicians take in a bunch of money and not spend it? When's the last time, we're all big for expanding the economy, expanding the currency supply. Who gets elected on tightening and austerity? Who gets elected? I'm the austerity politician. Vote for me. To eat less, to enjoy less, to do less bridges, less infrastructure, less. But more taxes though, but less everything else. You don't get elected that way. The likelihood of responsible fiscal budgeting remains low. Well, yeah. Alexander Bloom, you made the first smart statement of the day. Managing director at 2 Prime, a digital asset investment firm. Continued support from the Fed means there will be more capital looking for new areas to invest in growth. And then you blew it, Alexander, because again, another idiot that doesn't know that Fed money's not real money, dumbass. Support from the Fed doesn't equal capital looking for new areas to invest. It equals banks and private financial institutions investing stimulus monies or money that was supposed to be floated out into the economy in the form of credit creation and loans and debt notes. That's where currency is created, right? It's created at the loan. It's not created at the press. That's another important takeaway for today. Currency units are created at the bank level. They are borrowed into existence or lent into existence. They're not made on a printing press. The stuff that's made on a printing press is created into existence through the sale of corporate debt, government debt in this case, the big corporation. All right. That means investors might still look to higher risk, higher reward assets such as cryptocurrencies, which have at times in the past been uncorrelated with traditional assets, such as stocks and bonds. Yeah, no S, man. For now, more fiscal spending and continued monetary easing appears to be the new normal, both positive for risk assets. Higher taxes are still just a proposal. And even if they come, so think about this, they're going to tax you on all this stuff. You don't think people are going to exit into Bitcoin and other assets to protect those assets and to get them out of the hands of sketchy regulators? Come on, man. Common sense, bro. The present scenario is unprecedented in scale, where a pandemic has driven massive stimulus packages. Right. Add up all your fucking stimulus. Tell me, did it make up for COVID? Every one of you, add it up on your fingers right now. 600, 1,400, and what, 1,200? Or 14, was it 1,400 twice and 600 once? Did that pay for all of your economic despair for the last 17 months? Only if you invested it in a handful of crypto and got a 20x over the last year or 30x. Short of, I don't know, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, some of these 10xers, and even then, even if you put that money in, you got a 10x out of it. That didn't pay for all the damage you hit, all the damage you took, and all the future damage that your business might have taken if you had a small business. Come on, man. People are so dumb. Dumb. They don't have any, and this is the problem. It's so weak, so fucking weak out there, the macro knowledge. So weak. It's a bunch of fucking idiots spreading dumb information. They're getting on CNBC, they're getting on Bloomberg, they write dumb fucking articles on Forbes. We are getting coached by fucking idiots. So you wonder why the economy is such a dumpster fire? It starts at the very top. It starts in school. And then we're the conspiracy theorists. Is it a conspiracy now, bitch? We just did a 50x in the last 5 years in crypto. Is it a conspiracy now? Fuck you. Fucking CNBC. Bunch of douchebags, dude. Ugh. I can't cuss after when I do this other show. I won't be able to cuss. I'm kind of getting it out. It's fun, but the cussing days, they're going to go away soon. I know. I'm just kind of doing it to do it. Let's see. All my friends have lost their businesses. So that's, yeah, exactly. Crypto gamers. So that's the thing. Yeah, I lost my business, but I got like $3,000 in stimulus. Oh, cool. Okay. So everything's fine then. So it worked. The government stimulus worked. You got everything you needed. Of course, there's some currency devaluation there because the money did get created. It just ended up in a few people's back pockets. So that's good. Stimulus works. Central planners rule. Pfft. Come on, man. Yeah, I know. It sucks. Bay Area is expensive as hell. Okay. Let me continue to this other article. Let me make sure I didn't skip anybody. You have to vote at the embassy or via post mail, but it's a bit. Okay, cool. You don't owe push-ups. I know I do, though. I do, because profanity is profanity. I try to use it to accentuate a statement or to show deep exclamation, but I've got a filthy mouth. You know what's filthy? I almost bought a Corvette yesterday to rent out, but I didn't. At the last second, I didn't because these idiots. Okay, this has been an ongoing thing. It's an American car. The sticker is 96K. You can't charge 20K over for an American car. Listen, to everybody at GM, you can't charge $20,000 extra for a piece of dog shit American car. It's garbage. It's fucking plastic. They're like, it's just like a Ferrari. A Corvette is fucking nothing like a Ferrari. You motherfuckers have never been in a Ferrari, apparently. It's nothing like a Ferrari, you motherfuckers. And this is directly at Chevy employees. Okay. So they do this and they're like, well, everybody wants one. I go, no, everyone doesn't want one. You've had shutdowns at your plant. You're not fulfilling orders. So then only 1 in 10 of the cars actually makes it to the showroom. And then you say, well, everybody, no, dude. But the 10 people that ordered it, at least 5 actually want it. And now you have 5 people fighting for one car. You've created a fake market. It's just like a Ferrari. Bitch, it's nothing like a Ferrari. And it's slow. Another thing is it's slow. Now, the 2022, which is supposed to be the fast one, like 600 horsepower, cool. But did you know that the Stingrays, the 2020s and the 2021s, is 485 horsepower? Come on, dude. That's not a supercar. It's not even close to a supercar. It's not a 200-mile. The rules of a supercar is 600 horsepower or 200 miles an hour. If you can't do one of those two things, it's not a supercar, and it's not exotic, and it's not luxury. It's an $85,000 car that you guys are tacking on. Yeah, exactly. Intentional limited production. And it's not even intentional. They wanted to get these cars out there, but they've had all these log jams at the factory because of COVID and all that. And I get that. But the guys at the dealership are like, this is because the cars are so good. No, it's not, you dumbass. It's because you guys are not pushing the cars out. It drives horrible. It's not a track car. It's just that it rents really well because idiots think it's a supercar. Right? Oh, God. Anyway, there's my little spiel about the Corvette. So I won't be buying it. I'm not paying 20K over. I'm not paying 20K over for anything American. I don't have to pay 20K over for a Ferrari. I don't have to pay 20K over for an Aston Martin. You don't pay 20K over for real cars. The only time you do it is if there's some special edition thing. Like the McLaren came out with a 765 long tail. Well, there's only a certain number of those. I think they made 765 of them. That was like the thing. You pay over because there are collectors that are competing for that car. That makes sense. But the Corvette is fungible. It's not like an NFT. There's an infinite amount of Corvettes. It's American. They can print 100,000 of them next month if they want. They just out you go, out you go. It's like a Ferrari. Get the fuck out of here. I went up there with a car. I took the AMG GTR, the green. It's the gross green one, but it's fast. It's a 200 mile an hour car. It's one of the fastest. It is the fastest track car in the world on several tracks. at Laguna Seca, at Nuremberg, and all that. Anyway, and the guy's like, this car's the fastest thing you will ever. I'm like, stop. I drove up here in that. He's like, well, that's different. Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. And that's a Mercedes. I got that 3 blocks away, and I didn't pay $20K over. And that's a $240,000 car. I paid the price. The price is the price. Another thing, for those of you that are car shopping, don't be car shopping, by the way. No one should be buying anything right now. You save all your fucking money. You either put it in crypto, pay down debt, prepare for bad times, right? If COVID taught you anything, it's prepare for bad times. If you have not paid down all your debt, don't be out there punting into sports cars and stupid ass shit. And I wouldn't do it either, except that we rent these things out because there's a bunch of suckers out there that love to rent these things. Good on you. But none of you here should be punting into any kind of new big purchases. It's stupid. You shouldn't be buying houses right now. You shouldn't be buying anything. You should be saving your money, paying down debt, and loading up in your, if you feel safe about your investments in your investments. Now, that being said, when you're looking at these cars, if the dealer adds $20K over on a car, you can't insure the $20K over. Meaning, if it's a $95,000 car, you pay $20K over, you paid $115,000 and then tax. 1, you get taxed on the $20K over dealer fee. 2, when insurance, if you crash the car or someone crashes it, steals it, whatever, they're not paying you back for the $20K over because that was tacked on top. That's not part of the value of the car. They're only going to pay you back the value of the car. The only way you can recover that is through a lemon law proceeding. I have a good lawyer, by the way. Lemon law lawyer if you need it. Okay. Enough with that. Google joins the NFT bandwagon with Origin Protocol partnership. What? Very interesting. Origin Protocol and Google Cloud have partnered to create and sell non-fungible tokens, NFTs, through Origin's e-commerce platform, dShop. The Origin team tweeted the announcement on Twitter. I don't know why Origin hasn't doubled today. If you think about it, remember when a Google announcement meant something? How far we come. To where like, we just partnered with Google and people are like, oh. It's crazy. Origin Protocol's blockchain platform used to build decentralized marketplaces, enabling the creation of peer-to-peer marketplaces on the Ethereum network and IPFS. The Ethereum side of it sucks, but you know what? They're going to get past that. Create and sell NFTs using dShop on Google Cloud. Origin's dShop one-click deployer has been available on Google Cloud Marketplace since August 2020. dShop allows users to create an online store and run their business on a decentralized platform. The new partnership is explicitly aimed at the creation and sale of NFTs. A little late to the party, a little Johnny come lately, right? It's like Mark Cuban saying Bitcoin is worth less than bananas, and now he's a big Bitcoin Ethereum guy just 4 months later because now it's cool. Now he's doing NFTs because now it's cool. And let's face it, now Origin and Google are doing NFTs because now it's cool, right? It was on Saturday Night Live, so we got to all do it. I think the excitement over new NFT listings has kind of reached the edge. That candle has burnt itself out. And I think it's evidenced by the price action today. Anyway, setting up a dShop pawn Google Cloud, I think that's an extra P. Platform is simple and straightforward process. Once the dShop is set up, users can create and mint their NFTs. A Web3-enabled wallet like MetaMask browser extension is also needed. And we're all getting good at using MetaMask, are we not? It's an essential tool. Yes? Okay. Maintain an ETH balance in your wallet to pay gas fees. We all know that. Ethereum is the thing which you light on fire. Yeah, what else was cool here? Listings are done. What's next? Okay. To ensure NFT being sold can prove its existence and verify its scarcity, users are advised to add an Etherscan link in the description of the NFT listing on dShop. Okay, this is a workaround for dShop. This isn't a completely elegant example of launching NFTs, but you know what? They're getting it done. Origin's impressive NFT history, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's kind of cool, right? Origin helped Brave Software and the Brave Software fame switch from Shopify to dShop for its merchandise store. That's kind of cool. Brave hosts its own store now where it utilizes its native token. In early 2021, Brave held a meme creation contest with their community, and 30 NFTs were listed on their dShop for sale. So cool. So Origin is working with Google. Origin is working with Brave. It's awesome. If you own Origin, I think this is probably a good thing, right? So, yeah. Okay. Whew. Let's get to some price action. Let me make sure I haven't skipped anyone. Kevin, what's going on, man? Let's see. We got Kevin. We've got biotech breakout. Let me see. Get involved. What's going on? Get involved. Let's see. Classes. Okay. I think I've got everyone. Broham, Belinda. Cool. I think I got everyone. And if you're new, just say hello and we'll definitely acknowledge you. We try to acknowledge everyone that wastes away their time hanging out with us. Okay. And to Antonio over on the Clubhouse, keeping the fire lit. Okay. Let's take a look at prices. We're going to do a quick rundown and I will let you guys go free for the day. Oh, look at that. We're at an all-time high. What does this mean? It means you can just walk out there and why? Because every time you ever told someone to buy the Bitcoin, you were right. Feels good to be right. You want to be right? Just be happy for every single crypto asset. Be happy for every project that's green today. Days like this are, well, they happen more and more. This is an expanding market. Not every day is going to look like this, but on the aggregate, this is what you're going to see over the next several months to several years until this market is saturated and fully formed. And many of these assets probably won't be here in any meaningful way, but some of them will. My guess is Bitcoin is probably fine. We're about to break 2,300 Ethereum. Hey, keeps melting up. Is it moving up as fast as some of the other assets? No, but it's still melting up because the entire market is expanding. So don't think that just because these other protocols are competing with Ethereum and that they're going to erode at those margins, it doesn't mean Ethereum goes down in price. The entire market is expanding. All of these assets are going to grow, most likely. All of the, assets with a real future that have the potential for a true use, utility, and adoption. But some will move faster than others. Me, I'm a Bitcoin miner who uses these other assets to get more velocity and in turn get more Bitcoin. So as long as I outpace Bitcoin, I'm winning. And with Ethereum, you're outpacing Bitcoin. So you're winning. So yes, there are tons of problems in Ethereum. No, they are not going to solve them. It's unlikely that they're going to scale in any meaningful way in any time, any relevant time frame. But as the whole market swells and expands, so too shall Ethereum. Cardano, $1.39. It got up to like $1.41 earlier. I think I got up to like $1.43. Anyway, we're in almost new all-time high space. I think it has to get to $1.49, I think, or 48 was the high. Smart contracts are coming. Be aware. Polkadot, $41.76. Cool. It's in the 40s. Theta, it's in 12. Filecoin, $1.64. It's down a little bit. It's up a little bit. It's up 200% on the month. It's not terrible. They're also about to go through a hard fork. It's either today or tomorrow. Maybe, you know what? I think it's Thursday. I think Coinbase is tomorrow. Filecoin, their backwards compatible fork or whatever, Thursday. Okay. B-Chain, 14 cents again. Why? No one knows. Is it because they're new mainnet? They're this, that? No, probably not. Just things are growing right now. The whole market is expanding. I still don't think there's any real meaningful partnerships with B-Chain, but I have a lot of it. It was cheap. Do I celebrate it as a victory? No, because it's kind of melting up for no real reason. Is there use, utility, and adoption? Yeah. There's utility. Is there use? No, not really. It's all trading. Is there adoption? No, not really. It's going up. Cosmos finally broke out of that 22 range. It's at $24. Good for Cosmos, man. Holochain kind of got kicked in the D, kicked in the taint. but it's trying to make a run. Do I think Holochain will ever really compete with the internet? No. Nope. And yes, with VeChain, yeah, it probably is because of the Coinbase listing rumor, which I have heard from several sources. And based on them listing NKN and Origin, my guess is it's coming. But I wouldn't put it past them. Why not? They can make that money. Let me tell you this, though. If you get a run up, if VeChain makes a run up into a listing on Coinbase, you sell it. You sell it days before, because lately everything that lists on Coinbase completely S's the bed on the day of listing and the day after, like a depth charge. They get a Coinbase listing, I am out. Gone, done. Good luck to the rest of the VeChain holders. I will cash all of it out. Okay. Cosmos is doing good. Holochain, doubtful. Chili's, they listed the PSG, and another team. There was another team they listed like 2 days ago. Those tokens did great. It's going to do, I think it's going to do just fine. Listen, these fan tokens, influencer tokens, stuff like that. Yes, it's memey and BSE and stupid, and there's a lot of money to be made. All right, Engine, $3.17. Pretty cool. It's really the only of the Coinbase listed tokens that's really performing, and it is performing green across the board. Graph token, a lot happening in Graph. Don't sell your Graph right now. Don't sell your Graph right now. A lot of big things are coming from Graph. Over the next month, I think this looks a lot different. I think it looks a lot different. Let's just say that. Mana, $1.08, cool. Nexo token is crushing. Why? Well, listen, if you want to keep getting your rewards on Nexo and Bitcoin goes up, you got to buy more Nexo token, and you want to maintain that platinum level. And Nexo's kind of cool. And so it's created this market where you need Nexo to benefit from Nexo. And by the way, asterisk, they're about to do their dividend payout. I think that's going to occur August. They take 30% of their profit. They give it back to the peeps. So who knows? Kind of cool. Do I think Graph will set up on Cardano? I don't see why they wouldn't. Unless it doesn't make sense for them for whatever reason. I think there's going to be basically interoperability between all these chains. Why would you not? Arweave, this story gets more interesting the closer we get to June with parachain offerings with Polkadot. IOST just keeps going up, and I just keep selling little bits of it because I don't know if there's a future in this token, but cool. Okay. Flow is starting to get back up there. Remember, NBA Top Shots, UFC, that's all Flow. Okay, cool. So that's protocol layer NFT. 1 inch. 1 inch price wise has been doing quite well. My worry with 1 inch is there's so many other of these swap platforms. And I'm just not sure if it makes sense to bank in 1 inch, to bank on 1 inch, like getting it done. They did the Coinbase listing. They're there. Nothing happened. They didn't really sell off, but nothing happened. I don't know, man. I'm going to probably, whenever I decide to trim down a position after a long time, it usually spikes. So I'm going to, since I feel like I should drop my position now, not drop it, but lower my exposure, I'm going to skim my profit off of 1 inch and get back to my original investment. That's what I'm going to do. I never completely exit something that I believe in. And fundamentally, the story makes sense with 1 inch. The staking is no longer all that good. The fees suck real bad because you're still doing Ethereum transactions, the whole MetaMask gas burning crap. And 1 inch hasn't kind of ported over to near, which I thought they were going to do. And that's kind of what kept me in 1 inch. It doesn't look like that's happening anytime soon. I'm gassed out on 1 inch. Let me put it that way. TVK, again, right next to Flow is where it belongs. They have a lot of partnerships, marketing agreements, yada, yada. We'll see. We'll see. OGN 251, cool. My guess is this should be way higher, but I guess the Google News is not all that impressive. Stormix, I like it. It's down, but I like it. I'm going to continue to baby add. I'm going to do with Stormix what I was doing with VeChain. I'm going to do a few bucks a day, every single day. Stormix. I'm going to keep doing it because I think the gamification of using credit cards and debit cards is very smart. Okay. Fetch, AGI. AGI is actually down quite a bit today, but it's up pretty good, 87% this month, 40x on the year. It's not bad. And it's AI exposure. I like these. I keep these positions balanced. So I have to actually add some fetch because my AGI position is now higher because I was buying AGI at about 25, 26 cents. So I have to add. So fetch has come down. I'm going to buy more. AGI has gone up. So anyway, cool. Yes. Protocol layer. Great. Audius through audio, great staking. Price action's not been super great, but tiny market cap. I think they do some great things. Decentralized Spotify. Cool. NKN, price-wise, it kind of S the bed, but it's still doing great on the month, great on the year. And I think it has a long way to go. I'm guessing that Coinbase didn't list it because they think it's a dud. I think they think it's probably something pretty powerful. So we'll see. It has not performed very well near term. It touched $1.40 something, but really the price was in the mid 120s on listing day, and then it completely just S the bed and is giving it all back, and it's kind of an embarrassment. But it's a tiny market cap, and if it gets any kind of bid, this thing will skyrocket. I think it's due for a 4 or a 5x, probably pretty easy. So I'm not letting go of it. Near, my friend, till the end. I won't sell any. I will only add. I still think we're really cheap and we're really early, and my guess is this time next year, that's a $30 or $40 token, and Rally is rallying, and that's all I've got for you. So, friends, family, countrymen, have a great day. Stay out of trouble. Stay in school. Don't do drugs like you know what? Stress relief. I bought some wax yesterday to get into the tops listing for the cards. I actually bought some wax. Chili's, well, MLB and Tops, Crypto Gamer is actually, that's listing on through wax. So Chili's might get exposure to the teams, but it would be in a different way. It might be team tokens or something, but Tops, the actual Tops cards are going through wax. And that's on April 20th. All right. Cool, man. So don't do anything my poor insolvent drunk starting to meth grandmother wouldn't do. She was smoking water last night. I was like, Grandma, come on, man. Can't you do something simple? So now she's crushing aspirin and cocaine and together, and she's calling it Revivarin, whatever that means.
Hey, this is the Prophet with Nick Black. It's time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain. We here to fix that. You want the news on them new stocks? This where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair. It's time to sit back and talk to Prophet. Hey, you talking to the Prophet. Hey. We talking condos and nice clothes and driving Lambos. I remember them night codes, we couldn't stand those. We tried to drive on them house roads, but had to stay low. Now there's solutions to hard bills we couldn't pay for. I talked to Prophet to get some profit, we couldn't change the top. If it's a stock and I need a cop it, I wait for him to drop it. Ain't no option, let's get it poppin'. We chillin' in the trap. I need some crypto, put it in my pocket. By any means I rock. This is the Prophet with Nick Black. It's time to chit chat. You know nothing about blockchain, we here to fix that. You want the news on them new stocks, this where you get that. So go and grab you a nice chair. It's time to sit back and talk to Prophet. Hey, you talking to the Prophet. Hey, you talking to the Prophet.